Welcome to the FTD Virtual Design Show titled Styled to Wear, Personal Flowers That Make a Statement, featuring FTD Education Consultant Samantha Bates AIFD. As a quick housekeeping note, Samantha will be taking questions throughout the show. If you have a question, please type it in the question box on your control panel. All right, let's get started. Welcome, Samantha.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? I know we're all very, very happy to be done with Valentine's Day. But now, next up on the horizon is proms and Mother's Day. And then before you know it, we're going to be in homecomings. So let's look at some new trending ways of doing corsages. A little bit more modern styles we're going to go through. One of the first ones that I'm going to do is this one. So this one's almost going to be like a bangle bracelet, but it's really nice the way that it's made. And it's got lots of different uses that you can use for it. So it just goes on the wrist, just like that, and then it clamps back together, almost exactly like a bracelet would. So we're going to show you how to do that. First, what you're going to want to get is aluminum wire. My favorite type is this kind of aluminum wire. It comes, let me see, it's a 12 gauge wire, and it comes in just about all kinds of different colors. Let me see if y'all can see this. That's all the different colors it comes in, and it's decor wire. This stuff we use for a lot. But so what you're going to want to do is you're going to take a small piece of that. Basically just the length, a little bit more of the wrist. We're going to start with a piece like that, and I'm just going to bend that over and kind of make a hook. You can kind of see that, and then I'm going to push it around and bend it back on itself, and I'll show y'all exactly what that looks like. So that's what we're doing right there. Let's see. Just a little open hole there. And then I'm going to come with Oasis wire. This is the thin, I think it's the 18 gauge wire that comes in the different colors. I'm going with the silver because we have the silver and the aluminum wire. And you're just going to secure these two together. Just kind of twist it on there. And that's going to help us start our flowers in it. So that's what we're looking at. Anything that you want to do on this, you definitely can. If you're using it longer, you can always use it for like a little girl's flower crown. Flower crowns are really easy to make with this technique. If you want to do a cascade down a cake, we've used this technique for that as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm just cutting up some baby's breath right now. And we want to get smaller little bunches just like that. Now, the closer that you hold them together, and we're going to put it across. So I've got that little loop up here. I'm going to cover that with baby's breath, just on one side. And then I'm going to secure it with the aluminum wire going around there. And then we'll add another piece. And then just keep going around. And it's going to fill up really, really quick. And what I like about this, like I said, you can use it for all kinds of different applications. It's perfect for if you're on a larger scale, if you want to make a garland. This is a perfect technique for that. And it's really, really quick and easy. That's what I like the most about it. I know the majority of us have shops and we have lots going on, and you know, time is of the essence. So get all this together, and you see how we're coming along? And just keep on securing it.
Samantha, your microphone is picking up it's working. It's picking up all the wire.
Everything that I'm doing with on the table, huh?
Yeah.
Let's see. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, just make sure you're talking loudly so everybody can hear this. This looks cool so far.
Absolutely. And again, we're going to keep on adding. Baby's breath is a really nice base for this, and I know it's still popular in our area, so we are still doing a lot of baby's breath weddings. But it also just makes this little cloud on here to where it's perfect, where we can kind of add in flowers on top of it that don't need to be wired. We'll just cold glue those in. So this is kind of how we're going here. I'll show you the back. The back looks nice and finished too. All right, so just keep on adding that on. And then what I'm going to do once I get more towards the end of this, I'm going to secure it with the wire itself. So by using the metallic with the metallic, that actually makes it to where you don't have to hide that mechanic. So instead of using binding wire or anything like that, if you use one of the aluminum wires, you can make it part of your mechanic and make it decorative. And so I'm just going to fold that over, and then we basically have a little bangle that we can, and then you can really form it. However, the one thing that I love about this when we use this technique for flower girls is that I don't have to worry about head measurements. Usually I'll just get their age and kind of go from there. But when you're using this as a flower crown, you can kind of mold it to their head because it's on that aluminum bendable wire, which makes things really, really nice.
Samantha, we've got a question.
How can I help this?
Eileen said this is how she creates flower crowns. Do you find it is less time consuming by pre-cutting your jip?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anytime you're doing any of your bridal work or any of the work, any flower work, you're going to want to get everything all set up and all prepped before you start putting stuff together, because it definitely does make a difference. But this, I found, if you're using this technique, I love it because almost anybody can do this. So even your newest employees can start learning how to do something like that. And it's really, really cute. Another thing that I like about the baby's breath is it can be trimmed down as well. So if I've got a little bit too much sticking out, you can just come with your clippers and trim it down and get it all nice and done there. That makes it a little bit more. Then you can come in with some orchids. I've got dendrobiums here, or you can come in with any kind of flowers that you want to and just glue those right on into the baby's breath. Let's get that set in there to where it looks nice. And once you start cranking these things out, I mean, what did that take? Just a couple of minutes? This, I find, super easy to do and super quick to do. So that is what we're looking like there. Like I said, if you wanted to make a cake cascade, you can have it stopped in the cake, do a really long one. Or flower crowns, super easy there. So that's our bangle. We have any other questions on those?
No, that looks like the only question so far. But yeah, reminder, if anybody has any questions, just type them in the question box.
Absolutely.
And be sure to ask Samantha. Just to let you know too, she will be taking close-up photos afterwards of these items. So we'll be sharing those afterwards. So you will be able to see some more stuff close up too.
So the next thing we're going to do is, I know a lot of people for wrist corsages will purchase either, you know, cuff bracelets, or they'll use the Velcro, or the elastic, or pearls, or whatnot. I have always had an issue with any of that on my wrist because it always kind of flung around. So in order to get around that, when I first started in the flower industry, I made this. This is my little contraption. It is a 24-inch piece of wood. And I've got cut lines on here, and I've got little notes on here, because we actually hand make all of our prom and homecoming wrist corsages. Again, with the aluminum wire. And this is just PVC pipe, piece of wood, screwed together. Not anything over the top or super advanced, but I have on here where I need to cut for my measurement. So I cut a 20-inch piece of aluminum wire. And you'll see, I have 20 inches written right on there. So once I have it on there, that's where these two come. So what we'll do is I just have it kind of center the wire and then go around with both of the sides and bend those in. So you end up like this. Let me show you this way. So that's what you end up with. And then we come and just do simple little coils on each side so nobody gets poked. So you're left with this. From here, you just form it. What has worked really well since we started making these is we do get a lot of daddy-daughter dances, and the little girls have teeny tiny wrists. This is really adjustable. So it'll fit on, it clasps on. That's the back of it. So it's got a decorative back. It's got a nice, easy front. On this, you can tie your ribbon selections, glue on your flowers from there. I use a piece of flocked wire to create almost like that plate, that little platform that you would see on a lot of the bracelets that you would buy. This is a perfect thing to fill up those summer months when you have nothing better to do. Do all the housework. This is all good. So from there, I just take, this is one of the flocked wires. It's a coated on top of it, like a flocking, so it gives the glue something to grip to. And what we do is I'm just gonna take that and kind of make it, let's look like a fish at first. So we got it right there. From here, I'm gonna push down the center, because what we're trying to do is we're making 2 loops. And I am going to secure with this actual stuff. So that's kind of more or less what you're looking for. And this is not going to be visible. This is just to create something to add on to your cuff so that we can add flowers easy and know they're not going to go anywhere. So once I have it on here, I just use the wire, the tails that are left over, to secure it on my cuff. You can even clamp it down a little bit just to make it a little bit more secure. So that's what we're looking at. We have our handmade cuff, our handmade platform. And then from there.
That's really cute. It looks like a little butterfly wings or something.
Yeah.
We got a question, Samantha. Of course, back to the other one. Crystal had missed right at the beginning, and she was asking, was the initial wire a single wire or several wires?
It was a single wire.
Single wire. Okay.
So you start off with a single piece of aluminum wire. Again, I think this is the 12 gauge, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 12 gauge. It comes in the rolls. I think they're 25 yards long in the roll. And so when you're making bracelets out of that, you can really get a lot. So it comes down to just pennies when you are breaking down your cost for it. But it is just a simple aluminum wire, where you might think we had the 2 wires. Once I made the little eye at the top, the little holder at the top, that's where I came in with the second very thin wire. I think this is an 18 gauge, and had joined these 2. So that gave me something to wrap around with the flowers.
Okay.
So we did that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so I've got some eucalyptus leaves right here. And now we have our little butterfly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sandwich the little butterfly leaves. So I'm going to put a little bit of cold glue. I've got 4 pieces of leaves, a little cold glue. I'm going to add the cold glue on the eucalyptus leaf, and I'm going to put one under one of the sides and one on top of one of the sides. So I'm just sandwiching them together. I'll hold that for a little bit. If you use like good hardy eucalyptus, this is something that will prepare like quite a few days in advance. To where once we get to day of, or 2 days before or whatnot, we're just adding flowers at that point. This can just sit in one of your hydration chambers and be all good. So I got both sides. And then you don't really see anything under there. And I've got both sides covering up our little armature to hold our little platform that's going to hold all of our flowers. When we add flowers, that's what we get. So that's going to be one. Really dainty looking, no ribbon. I'm not a huge ribbon person, and I've actually had a lot of our prom girls asking for no ribbon now. So we have had to make some adjustments because we used to make it with the big old ribbon and the tulle and then everything on top. So everything's getting a little bit smaller, a little bit more upscale looking, and it works great for weddings. So once we have that, I'm going to start gluing some orchids on top of that. And I always find that with corsages and boutonnieres, it's really all about the details. So all these like little bitty buds at the top, we use all of that in it to give it that little extra added. I'm gonna add a little bit of cold glue. If you haven't worked with cold glue before, Oasis is my favorite. It takes some time to get used to. It is a little messy at first. So it always is good to start with it, get it a little bit tacky. Some people will put it on some cardboard, like a big, like a quarter size amount of it on a piece of cardboard, and then let it get a little tacky before they'll start adding it to the flowers. And that's a great way to do it. We're just gonna add some on. And keep adding in. Ooh, that one went. That's why you wait for it to get tacky. Add another. So we'll just have that over here. So we're good right there. And then of course we want to add in all the little buds at the top. I catch my floral tape Band-Aid. Stuff works great. Add some more. And a little bit more. You can kind of see from there how we're going to get a nice little dainty wrist corsage. And if you had everything prepped, all the leaves on, your cuffs made and everything, gluing on those last couple of flowers takes no time at all. And this is a bigger one. This one had some lysianthus in it. And we got some of the extra little pieces of the orchids in there and the little buds of the lysianthus as well. We always use those. And that is made with your board. Again, I made this literally about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and it is still the same one that we use. So they're hardy, they're good, they're great. About $2 to make. Okay. Has anybody here been following Passion Flower Sue? If y'all don't, y'all need to. She's incredible when it comes to corsages and boutonnieres and different techniques to do those. So I love watching her. So this next design was inspired by her. And what I'm going to do is I am going to start off with a gold bracelet. This is just one of the regular cuffs that you buy. Whenever we get our cuffs in, because you know, nobody's wrist is completely circular like they come. So we always bend ours into more of an oval kind of a shape. Just so when they put it on, it's more natural fitting and doesn't spin around really. But so we're going to start with that. So we've got that prepped. The next thing you want to get is actual jewelry wire. This is a 20 gauge wire. And as opposed to the floral wire that we have that's 20 gauge, I feel like this is more durable and it's a little bit more hardy. So get the jewelry wire. And what we're going to do is just cut a bunch of pieces. Usually about, depending on how big you want it, let's say for this one, probably like 8 pieces. We got 4. And I'm not worried about what the lengths are for each piece. I'm just kind of letting it go.
Question, Samantha, back to your other,
Sure.
Shailene was asking, what are the measurements of the posts on the board?
Sure.
The board was 24 inches, and then the notes for cutting the wire.
So yeah, where I cut, the board itself is 24 inches long.
24 inches.
The cut line on it, I have it 20 inches. So each bracelet is 20 inches total length.
Okay.
From there, let's see, let me show you. So yeah, so the 20 inches is really the number that you want. So we go 20 inches and we cut right at the 20 inches. And then here, you kind of take, yeah, it kind of see. So I've got the wire. This is the length. I've got that kind of just centered in the middle. And that's where we push these two over. Now the distance between these two, I want to say that is 5 inches.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say that's about 5 inches, but I can definitely clarify that in a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Oh, of course. So let's see how many pieces we got. We got 1, 2, 7. Let's do one more. Okay, so we got all these like little pieces of jewelry wire.
Where do you get the jewelry wire? Is it just at like a Any Michael's craft store?
Michael's, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, anything like that.
Any home.
We'll carry
Yep.
it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna want to kind of find the middle. Let's see, we got all the little wires here. Those there. Just trying to find roughly about the middle-ish. It doesn't need to be exact at all. So once I have that, I'm going to take the wires and kind of split them while I'm still holding them. And the reason I'm going to do this is because I want to really corkscrew them really good so that they're held together and they don't come loose. So then you're just going to corkscrew these, just like that. Doesn't have to be gorgeous. This is kind of all crazy right here, but that's kind of what you want to end up with. So from there, I'm just going to pull these out for right now just to kind of get them out of my way, because now what I need to do is secure on this to the cuff, which you might think is difficult, but is insanely easy and holds really, really well too. So for that, we're just going to use a couple of glue dots or glue dashes. And that is, I'm going to put 2 on the little corkscrew that I made of the armature. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to do 2 glue dots. And then once you have that, we're going to stick it right on to the cuff. It looks just like that. To make sure that doesn't go anywhere, you're going to put 2 more glue dots on top. Like that. You can see the glue dots kind of sticking out all there. And I'm going to put glue dots right on top. And that's really going to seal in my little armature from moving. A little octopus armature. It's going to look just like that. And you don't need to worry about covering that right now because we're going to cover that all with flowers. Just going to kind of work this. Just kind of straighten it out just a little bit. And you're actually going to be threading the flowers on to these wires. And you can imagine how lightweight that is too. I'm going to show you how we went from this, and this is one of our finished ones. We have that, which this is a little big for, you know, weddings, maybe not proms, and girls are getting a little extra, but that's kind of what we're going to end up with here. And this is one of those things where you can really bring it in and bring it tight, and it can still be lightweight and whimsical and airy like that. Or you can just really go avant-garde with it, over the top, head pieces, arm pieces, you know, necklaces, stick it out. So this is another technique that's got all kinds of different uses for it. But
I would say that's what I was thinking when you were showing that. If you did like that cuff, but like more, a little bit more centrally up, maybe halfway between the wrist and the elbow. And
exactly, yeah, you can get really big with it and definitely bring it all the way back in as well. So I'm going to start off with a fairly large ranunculus because this is what I have. So of course we're only going to use one because we want to kind of keep it on something that your clients are going to definitely gear towards instead of that more over the top stuff. So I want this to kind of land in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and use whatever wire's close enough. And I'm just going to cut a little bit off of it. And then I'm going to thread the ranunculus straight through it. Just like that. You can kind of see the wire is coming straight through that ranunculus.
Mm-hmm.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little bit more off because I don't need that much. But we're going to take that wire that's exposed and we're going to make a hook and just fold it in the ranunculus, and that's going to secure that on there. What's also going to give you a little extra security is you have those glue dots that were exposed under there, so those are holding that onto as well. This is definitely something, because we're not sealing any of the flowers, that you would want to use a hydration chamber for after you make them for at least like a few hours. Make sure they're all good to go before you set these out. But so we have our main flower in there, we've got our focal. And after, I've got some locally grown snapdragons that we're going to use to thread onto the other arms. So these are kind of sticking out a little bit. So I know all I need is the length of where I want the bloom to stick out to, and then enough to make the hook to hook that back on. So like say for this one, I'm going to cut a little bit off of that one. I'm going to take my bloom of the snapdragon and I'm going to thread that right on. I'm going to bring it where I've got the wire sticking out of the snapdragon. And then I'm going to make a hook. So you can kind of see our little hook right there. And once I have that, I'm just going to pull this up, the snapdragon up, and it's going to add that hook coming out the bottom, and that's going to secure that there. And then you can use the wire to really kind of shape it in whichever way you want to. So if you want it to be more out, you can put it more out, more in, and go more in right now, and then kind of play with it from there. But yeah, super lightweight, super durable. They stand up against the girls having fun on a dance floor. They stand up against, you know, all the moms hugging everybody that came to see their daughter get married. Again, I'm just adding more of these on. I might do a couple of the orchids as well. So I'm just threading these on, making the little hook. And have it hook back onto itself. Orchids are nice and easy to do. Do one kind of out a little bit so we can kind of get a little bit of fun there. Another way that you can do the orchids as well is if you make a little platform for them to sit on. Like that one, we just kind of have looped on. But if I take one of these other little tentacles that are coming off, I can coil the wire to make almost like a little bed, a little platform for it to sit on, for the orchid to sit on. And we'll take that. That you will need a little bit of cold glue for. And we'll just add that right on top. And then once that cures, that'd just be kind of flying off right there too. I'll get that a second. I'll show you what the back looks like on that. See, the full glue. And if you want to hide all that, That's really easy to do, so you don't see any of that glue. You don't see the coil. You have, you know, anytime we get in orchids, there's always like one or two of the blooms that are, you know, not looking their best. So you can always just take one of those petals and put it on the back, and that'll cover up your mechanics there.
Can you show us that back again, Samantha? The camera didn't have a chance to adjust to the close-up.
It's just a small coil.
Okay.
And then I got the glue on it.
Thanks.
And then we're just going to back that with another petal. And that will hold everything on. Add some more, do another orchid. What I like about this technique is that you can really play with the heights. You can play with how airy it is. Make it tighter, make it, you know, more controlled, or go the complete opposite way.
Yeah, you can really be creative with this.
You definitely can. Again, we're just threading these on. Threading these on, come out. Get the little hook on, and then it'll go directly back into itself. And that just holds it right there. And a hook. And you don't have to keep all the wires. Like if you get to a point and you're like, okay, that's enough, I don't need any more flowers, just cut the other wires off. That is the good thing about that. So start with quite a bit, and then you can kind of adjust from there. So that's where we're at right now. I definitely want to add some more. Make it a little bit tighter. Another thing, you can use your little blooms from Anybody have any questions on this one?
I don't see anything else at the moment. I think definitely seeing the up close pictures
really helps, huh?
Yeah.
Add some, adding some towards the air there.
I like the way that one's kind of out there. Do you ever do how you did like a little curly Q, like you used it as the base, but is the wire decorative enough that you could just make it like a little wire curly Q?
It is. So this one is actually like a copper wire, but the jewelry wire comes in just about every color you can want.
Okay.
So yeah, it can definitely be used. You know, a mechanic that's also, you know, very pretty.
Yeah. Crystal's asking where you purchased the cuff. You
The cuff? No, this one I didn't. But this cuff, I want to say, came from a lot of our wholesalers. Any of your like flower wholesalers usually will carry the cuffs now. Any jewelry shows, you know how they used to have like all the jewelry shows that people would go to. They sell these cuffs there for like, you know, $1 or so. So very, very inexpensive.
Okay.
I'll just keep adding here.
We do have another question from Felicia. She said, this is great. Her question is about how well do the blooms that are just wire hooked with no cold glue needed once that hook is in place?
How long do they last?
Yeah, I think that's what she's asking. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
How long do they last? Yeah.
That is definitely where your hydration chamber is going to come in. So a lot of the times after we make these, especially like if we're not sealing it, like you know you should, if we are making these, after we finish it, it goes in a hydration chamber for the night. After that, it comes out, it's sprayed, it has no problem lasting. Of course, you want to use blooms that are going to be best in corsages and boutonniere work, but like dendrobiums, the snaps, I like snaps in something like this, but they don't last great. So I wouldn't probably use them in appliance. But these, they last pretty well. Same as any other corsage. If it makes you feel better, what you can always do if you want to seal it and you don't have time to do the hydration chamber, once you thread on one of your blooms and you make your hook, you can always add a little bit of cold glue on the hook as well before you thread it on, and that will give you extra security on there.
Do you feel just the hook they hold up well with just the hook as far as like keeping them secure?
I do, yeah, I do. I've never had any problems with them ever since I started playing with this technique.
Okay.
And of course, you know, it's a great one because obviously you're not going to sell your first one that you ever make to somebody. So sit down, get the materials, play with it, build your hydration chamber, and just test it out and see what works best for you on how long it's going to last. I am just going to keep on adding some stuff here. All right, hook down. I have this one that's like way kind of out there. What you can always do is you can make these so fun and do like little swirls in the wire too. Make that one into a little swirl. So like if all I can think of right now is if I had like all the different color wires, like all the rainbow colors of wires, white flowers on top with the rainbow colors coming out through the wire would be so pretty.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that little swirl. Ruth was asking about the hydration chamber. She said, what is? They must not have one at their shop then? Is that?
So the hydration chamber is actually something that you make. What we use, one of the Rubbermaid containers, roughly about this size, one of the smaller ones that's thinner that you can like use under the bed a lot of times, or like flatter ones. In a Rubbermaid container, you would just lay wet paper towels down at the bottom, put your items in, spritz them with water, and then close that up and seal it up and put it in your refrigerator. That's your hydration chamber.
Oh, that's pretty handy.
Yeah. There's no need to spend a lot of money on any kind of crazy sort of refrigeration or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, thanks for asking the question, Ruth, because I was wondering, I thought, oh, I wonder how expensive that is and how many
No,
people
very,
have
very
that.
cheap. You can get it all over at your local Walmart. I'm going to add a couple more, and I think we'll be done with this one. One more big one. All right. There we go. That is that one. You see how nice it's got a tiny different dimension. Of course, if you're using this for mothers of the bride or somebody that doesn't want something this big, you have all the control on that. So you can make it as long, as airy, however that you like it, your client would like it best. So
That's beautiful. I love it. Yeah, that's cool. Pat was asking if you can give us prices on several of those body flowers. I'm looking like
what I would sell them to clients for, or like cost.
I think so. Yeah.
On the clients, so something like this, you can easily charge more for this. If I was doing this for a wedding, I'd be doing about $75 a wrist corsage. And the best thing that's going to sell that is pictures of them too. So if you
Right.
get pictures in your portfolio that you're showing your clients, you can show them like your standard corsages, anything like that, and then they'll see something like this. And the moms definitely want something more high scale, different.
More
A lot of
upscale. Yeah.
a lot of the moms that we're seeing now, some of their dresses are like twice as big as the bride's dress. So the moms are really going front and center, which I love it. Good. So we got option one. Well, this was option one. So we've got that, the bangle here, which this is the adjustable one. So if you get there and somebody's wrist is a little bit smaller, you can definitely adjust it to whatever works the best. So this is the nice little bangle. I've got the other wrist where this is the one that we actually make all of the cuffs for these, because they are just so adjustable. I mean, you can put that on the tiniest of tiniest wrist and it's going to hold on. See how small that can go?
Yeah.
It can go this small, it can go larger, any way you want, and it's going to hold on tight. And then, of course, we have our beautiful big and airy. Big airy, but not too over the top where you would shy away. That's not too big.
Yeah. No, that's great.
I
think you're right too. The key is to have the pictures so that they can see.
Yeah, because if you're just describing that, yeah, if you're just describing that, it's really hard for somebody to imagine, especially when it's something more modern. But having that in your portfolio, and so I don't know if y'all have come across this app yet. I think it's called Pedal Pro, if I'm not mistaken. It's Pedal Pro. I want to say it just kind of launched maybe at the end of last year, early this year, but it is making the picture and editing process with flowers so easy. So you can take a picture of this just laying on the table and select what you want it to do. Like it's got a it works great for bouquets. So if I have a bridal bouquet and I need to take a picture, I'll take a picture of the bouquet just sitting on my desk, upload it. I choose the bride. I can choose, it's got an option to where there's a bride. So basically it AIs that bouquet into a bride's hand, and it makes it beautiful. So you're not having to wait for all the photographer pictures to come up and then remember to download them and thank them and, you know, do all the things. So that is a game changer when it comes to taking pictures of your work and showcasing it to your brides and to your clients.
And what did you say that was?
Petal Pro.
Petal Pro.
I believe that's the name of it. I'm like 99% sure that its name is Petal Pro.
Felicia said yes, it is.
Oh, perfect. So who uses it? Yay. Yep. So that's what we have for you to showcase to all your clients and to your brides. And, you know, I would love to see what y'all's take on everything is and taking these and making it your own too.
Awesome. Wow. Yeah, we're almost at time. That time flew. I think when you're showing us all the detail too really helps, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially on anything that is wearable flowers tends to have so much tiny detail that it's kind of hard to see on stuff like this, but we'll definitely be taking a lot of pictures so that y'all can see the up close and the details. You know, just like all of our designers want. We want to see what the back looks like and what this looks like, and we want to give you all that. So
awesome. Awesome. Oh, Eileen wants you to put it on again. I'm not sure which one, Eileen.
Which I can put them all on. So that is the bigger, more fluffier one. And this, I tell you, it's just so lightweight, they would barely even know that that's on their wrist. This is the one that we make the cuff for that's super adjustable. It fits every little wrist, and it does not go anywhere. We got that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that looks like a little bit more of like a traditional
Oh yeah, absolutely, without the ribbon. This is one of our highest selling ones because it's so dainty, and so got a lot of people that want just something just a little bit, but they don't want that big corsage. And then I also had the bangle that we made.
Yeah. That's cute. That's cute. But yeah, that one I just
I love airy.
Got a little statement. Isn't that, don't they call that negative space?
Lots of negative space in that, exactly.
Fantastic. All right. Well, can't wait to see the pictures come out.
Yes. Definitely the pictures.
All right. So yeah. So thanks for sharing all of that. Yes, go ahead. I see there's other questions in there. So please, if anybody's got any final questions, drop them in the question box and we'll ask them. As a reminder, I mentioned earlier that Samantha's going to be taking, and she's mentioned it too, she's going to be taking some close-up photos of those pieces.
Absolutely.
So we'll be able to see a little bit better. We'll be sharing those out on social media in the coming weeks or week. So be sure to follow us. You follow Mercury Network on Facebook and Instagram to be able to see those. All right, and then we'll go, let's see, next questions, Shailene. Oh yeah, how do you seal the flowers for the corsages and boutonnieres? So what was, you were telling us the hydration chamber for like an overnight, and then they come out and.
Correct. And of course I got a train coming right now. But so as far as sealing the flowers, if I'm not sealing the open ends with cold glue, and the reason that you do that is so that the flower is not sucking up air and it expires quicker that way. So if you seal it in the back, it definitely gives it a lot longer of a life. On some of the things though, I don't seal, and that's when I use a hydration chamber. And again, all that is basically a Rubbermaid container. You don't want something super deep, but just more of the thin ones that kind of slide underneath the bed. Those are perfect. And then you've got wet towels in it, or wet paper towels, and then it just put your items in there. All the stuff that you made all goes in there, a little misting, and then seal it up. And just click on the top and then stick it in the fridge till the next day. And that's really kind of all you need. But again, I do definitely tell people, I mean, because I do the same thing, I want to test it out. So definitely build your little hydration chamber. You can even start with one of the smaller the smaller Rubbermaids at first, just to kind of try one out, and then set it in there and see how you like it.
Fantastic. And then Eileen asked about sharing the handle for Instagram again. So if you're asking for us, it's Mercury Network for both Facebook and for Instagram and for YouTube. But also, Samantha, this might be a great time for you if you want to share what yours Facebook and Instagram, people want to follow you for more ideas and things.
Yeah, so my Facebook and my Instagram for my personal are Samantha Bates AIFD, and then if you're looking for our business page, it's EFY Floral at both of them, at all of them.
Awesome. That's so cute.
Wear this all day.
All right. Felicia's already following. Yay. And she had a question. So she said just closing the cut end of the flower is sealing it. I think
Correct.
With the glue, that's what you were saying.
Correct, yeah. That anywhere you cut, any on that stem where you cut, cover it completely with cold glue, and that's going to stop it from sucking in air. Just like it sucks up water to hydrate, it sucks up air, and that blows it out a lot quicker.
That's great. I don't know if I've ever actually heard that. I love that. I love that. All right. Lots of thank yous. Great jobs. So, yeah. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions. Yeah, I don't see any more questions. So, thank you everybody for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Samantha, for this. Recording will be available on demand on the FTD Mercury Network Florist YouTube channel. And for more education programming from FTD, please visit ftdi.com to register for those upcoming free webinars and design shows and to view past education programs on demand. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.